for Wilderness and Backcountry Management Plan in regards to the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir, I am.
Were you familiar that your agency admitted in that plan that the guides who provide these services would experience long-term reductions in revenues associated with those services provided in the Black Canyon and likely lose their jobs in the community?
Well, I've just come up to speed on this issue that there has been a proposed in the draft. It's not final, so there's no final decision here, but there's a proposal by the park to eliminate commercial guiding services within Black Canyon. And I know it is very controversial within the climbing community, and we're not at a final decision in that. And I'd be glad to come up and talk to your office about your concerns on that.
You know, we would, because we live in that's my home area. Largely rural area. We've been devastated by unemployment and the impact of losing even more jobs in our area when it comes to the Black Canyon. And I'd like to just have a little bit of the thought process. People have the freedom to go in and climb without a guide now. Why would you want to restrict the option for citizens to be able to have a professional guide?
I really do not know the background on this issue and why the park has concluded that this is within the draft, and I do plan to investigate it, understand why they are making this proposal, and I'd be glad to come up and talk to you about it once I find out.
I appreciate that. I know both of our senators as well as myself have written you a letter, and we'll look forward to your correspondence on that, and do want to work with you. We want to be able to protect our jobs in that particular area. Director Abbey, according to the BLM's February 13th press release, the fiscal year 13 budget would reduce funding for the public domain forest management programs by $3.5 million. That's almost a 40% reduction in funding for forest management in a time when the agency is increasing spending on further land acquisition. What effects would this 40% reduction have on the numbers of forest management personnel, volume of timber sold, number and size of stewardship contracts, number of firewood and fuelwood permits for personal use, and businesses and jobs in rural communities?
It's a good question, Congressman Tipton. As you know, any reduction does have adverse effects on the programs that we've been managing for a number of years, and the public domain forestry program is no exception. There will be some reductions in force relative to the number of personnel that would be lost as a result of that reduction, that proposed reduction. We would intend to absorb those reductions through attrition, which means through retirements or other people leaving. We would continue to offer timber materials through stewardship contracting. We believe that we can continue to maintain the status quo relative to the number of stewardship contracts that could be offered, working very closely with other partners to make those materials available. We would also continue to look toward some of the hazardous fuels reduction monies that we have in the fire program to help us achieve some of our forestry objectives out there.
You know, given the bark beetle epidemic that I'm sure you're well aware of, particularly in Colorado.
Yes.
This has devastated entire forests. Is this really the time to be making cuts in those areas?
Well, it would certainly be a priority for us to look at those type of areas for fuels reduction and to alleviate some of the risk associated with wildland fire.
Do you know exactly how, not exactly, good guess how many acres are affected by BLM land in Colorado are affected by the bark beetle?
I do not know specifically, but we could certainly provide that information to you.
You know, I think that's going to be very, very important. You know, we have a tremendous concern in Colorado in terms of the fire hazard. We've had light snowpack this year. It's not typically a question of if, but when that catches fire, the impacts on our watersheds going through the areas, the devastation for all of our economies throughout the entire West will be greatly impacted. I'd like to know also, have you evaluated the potential for increasing public domain timber sale programs in order to ramp up the response to the beetle kill?
Our priorities certainly would be based upon demands, and as you probably have heard or assessed through your own reviews of our programs, the public domain forestry program provides little timber for commercial purposes. It provides a good source for firewood and other type of biofuels commodities, but it doesn't necessarily provide a lot to the commercial timber industry.
Great, and if I may, just a little bit on the grazing, I guess we're done. Thank you.
Yeah, you're out of time, but we will